So here we go, week 6 of the Sync 60 challenge. I hope you're still with me. I hope you're still with us and you're still going for your Sync 60 challenge. Whatever it is that you set for yourself, I hope you're sticking with it. Sync Academy members, now would be the time to fill out your progress chart. If you haven't done it already, let us know this week. Did you achieve last week's goals that you set out for yourself? I hope you're able to mark the yes in that column. Even if you were distracted, had other things come up, it's okay. Mark no, be honest about where you are, and then realize that you need to get back on track. This is a part of being a professional. You don't always nail everything that you want to get done all the time, but professionals realize when they've sort of missed the mark and they haven't hit their goals and they have to play catch up and now they have to get back on track, okay? Amateur producers can just quit. They can just go do something else, get distracted, and bail out. But if you want to be a professional TV, film, music licensing producer, you don't have that luxury. You really just have to get right back on track and get into your groove again, okay? So I encourage you, don't give up, stick with us, get through the Sync 60 challenge. We are almost there, guys, just a couple of more weeks. So I'm excited for those of you that have stuck with me and are still going forward. This week, we're gonna talk about chasing versus building. This is a concept that I've talked about in a few previous videos on my YouTube channel, actually. But I wanna go into more detail as to what I mean by each of these terms, because I see 95% plus of producers and musicians in the industry chasing their careers. They're chasing fame, chasing notoriety, chasing a fan base, chasing a record deal. I don't care what it is. There's just a whole bunch of chasing going on and hoping and dreaming. Not a lot of building happening, and building takes work. And building is the part of it where you actually have to be a little bit more grounded and learn about what it is you're doing with your music, what industry you're involved in, who your clients are going to be, how you're going to get their business, right? This is a completely different mindset shift that most just producers and musicians are not trained in. They don't know anything about this. So I hope that this is useful for you guys. This is more of a philosophical presentation. I'm going to just tell you about some of the things that I think are harmful for your career. And if you're doing any of these things, this would mean that you are probably just chasing something and you're unlikely to see the results that you want by chasing. But then we're going to reverse it and then on the more positive, productive note and talk about building, what you can actually do to build your career, okay? So let's go ahead and get started here. What is chasing a career? Let's talk about some of the things that would basically qualify as chasing according to me. This is what I've seen. This is what I've seen a lot of my musician and producer colleagues and friends do. I personally did this stuff years ago, so I'm not on a soapbox preaching down to people. This is something that I've personally, a lot of these mistakes I've committed. And then I learned the hard way basically by sort of not seeing the results that I wanted. And then I decided I got to do something different. I can't get success doing things this way. So let's go through some of these. This is the first one, and it should be obvious. And the reason why I put this first is because when I ask producers and musicians that I meet, just on a day-to-day basis, I ask them, "What's your plan? How do you want to get to doing music full time so that you don't have to have your day job anymore?" They usually always come up with some sort of a line like this. Well, I just hope I get discovered, right? I hope that I just put my music online and Justin Bieber got discovered because he just put his stuff online. So somebody will come and discover me, put me on the map, get me a publishing deal, get me a record deal, put me on tour, and then I'm set to go. Or I hope maybe some big artist finds my tracks on SoundCloud and then they want to put me on tour with them, and then my entire career just blossoms from there. So I just got to keep putting stuff out, and one of these days I'm going to get noticed. So this is a very passive, pretty much a victim-like mentality that I hope if you do have this right now, hopefully today could be maybe day one of you no longer having this mentality, just because it puts you in such a powerless position that you have no control over the trajectory of your career, because you're literally playing the lotto with your music career. You're just hoping to keep buying that ticket every day, and then one day you got to strike it, right? Because you've been buying it for so many months or years, right? Almost nobody wins the lottery because the odds are just so stacked up against you, and almost nobody these days gets discovered because there are just too many artists and bands and people out there that are all doing that, right? And there's only so many of these sort of dream situations, like a Justin Bieber situation where he just put his music online and somebody influential and big found him and put him on the map, okay? So it's just not a path to realistic success. It is a pipe dream. If this is your plan, if this is what you've been telling people, you are living a pipe dream. And if people are kind of like laughing you out of the room, I kind of sympathize more with them than you, because that is not a plan for success. That's not a business plan. That's nothing. That's literally like saying, I want to get rich by buying lotto tickets. You should be laughed out of the room. That's not really anything that's worth even discussing or being considered serious, right? A lot of producers and musicians do this, like just build it and they will come approach, right? So it's similar to the first one where you just say, well, I don't know anything about marketing or putting my stuff out there, but I just know that if I keep, putting out good content and good stuff, people will just naturally find it and support me and want to buy my albums and buy my tickets and come see me live. So I don't have to really worry about actually serving anybody or, again, marketing my music to the public or to a certain area, a certain niche of the music business. I just need to build it, and people will they're waiting for it. Like, everybody's just waiting for my music to be there. And as soon as they find that it's there, they're jumping on board. Buzzer wrong. Okay, I don't care if you are the best producer on planet Earth. Literally, you have the best music. You in 2 seconds of your track, you bring tears to my eyes. I don't care if you're that good. If you're not actively going out and selling your music and getting it in front of people and marketing it or pitching it to the right people and sort of making a lot of noise that you're here, you have something to offer, and that you want to serve them or make their lives better or easier or whatever it is, you're literally going to have your quiet, lonely little website there, a SoundCloud page that will just collect dust and nobody's going to find it, okay? This is life. This is just sort of growing up. You cannot expect that your work will just magically do the marketing for you, okay? And your music will just magically attract people without any external effort on your behalf. The marketing and the approach and the pitch and the professionalism to partner with the right people in this business is probably more important, I would say, than your actual music, which is kind of crazy to say. Your music is very important. You got to bring the goods. You have to have good stuff. But if you're not willing to take some stabs, take some pitches, and face rejection and face some no's and face some not interested, especially in the TV film library world, you cannot just put up a website and think that libraries will suddenly just look for your website and discover you. It's definitely happened for a couple of people, and I know actually even myself and some of my students, they've actually been reached out by libraries because they had a presence on SoundCloud. But it's not the norm, right? That's not something you can count on. That's just a nice little, oh, that's cool. Somebody just found me online. I don't even know how that happened, right? Unless you're actively marketing yourself, you should be expecting those kind of phone calls. So you're going to have to go directly pitch to people. You have to sell your music. You have to sell yourself, right? You got to market yourself. So you're going to have to start getting comfortable with that and not thinking that just the music itself is going to do all the pitching for you. Hanging on to the coattails of others. This is something that I committed 10 years ago. Hanging around people that are already successful and just thinking that you can eat their crumbs is not a path to success. You might get a couple of crumbs, but you're not going to build any sort of weight of your own in the industry. You'll always be dependent on the other person or that group or a band or whoever it is you're working with to feed you, to basically get your income. And the minute that they're not hot anymore and they're not interesting, well, there goes your entire career, okay? So wherever you are in the music business, if you're doing this, you're just hanging around other producers, going to their studio sessions and always hanging out with them and just always relying on them for your income, you're setting yourself up for a really bad situation in the future, okay? And you're probably not going to be getting tons of work anyways right now. Maybe you are, and that's awesome. That's cool. But in the long run, you want to have your own name, your own brand, your own weight. You want people to be coming to you, right? And asking for your work, not you always hanging on the coattails of somebody else. My mistake doing this was that I would do exactly that. I would go to studio sessions with popular big A-list level producers and artists and rappers and singers and just kind of hang around and just be available to do some guitar work or some production work if they needed it. Once in a while, I get a little guitar feature on a track, but never turned into any money, never turned into any income, never turned into any sort of branding for myself. And it just wasn't the way to go. It's just not a way that you will see yourself actually growing in this industry. So it might seem lucrative in the short run because you think this person has a lot of weight and clout. I should just tag myself onto them. I'm not saying don't network and talk to people. Absolutely. Maybe provide a service to people that you know, but desperately clinging onto their legs, no, not a good idea. A lot of producers and musicians focus on what the world owes them. So if you're thinking right now, well, I have great music, so I deserve to have fans, and I deserve to have sales, and I deserve to have this, and why am I not being offered all these things? You're 180 degrees in the wrong direction, okay? You're focusing only inwardly. You're only focusing on what people owe you. Again, this is kind of a victim, powerless mentality that puts you in a very weak position in life. Try not to do this. Try to start working on turning that around. And we're going to talk about how to turn that around. But you should not be narcissistically, inwardly only thinking about what the world owes you. The more you do that, the more you're going to find that everybody lets you down. Everybody disappoints you. What's the point of doing anything? And you're going to get into a real depressive, kind of pessimistic mode where you don't want to even do music anymore. So it's a real dangerous mindset to get locked into. Sometimes, following trends at the expense of your authentic self. I've seen so many producers and bands do this where because a new sound is out and that's what everybody's doing, they totally abandon what they love to do and what they were great at, and they just start chasing this new sound, and then that's out of phase, and so there's a new thing, and they really have just kind of lost their core of who they are as an artist, as a producer, as a musician, and they get lost in themselves down the road. Not only that, they can basically chasing things that actually take them away and distract them from what they were actually really good at. Let's say you're a great orchestral composer, and that's something that you're really strong at, but there's this new EDM sound that you're all excited about, so you kind of abandon the thing that you were really great at and you had a skill at, and now you're trying something new because you're just excited about the new sound and everybody's doing it, and you think, well, I don't want to get left behind. I have to do this new thing. Well, you might not excel in that new sound immediately. It might take you a long time to get there. And meanwhile, something that works for you and is actually you, it's really who you are, you've abandoned that because you just followed this trend. Okay, so you should be keeping your ears on the ground and your finger on the pulse of what's happening in the industry. And I'm not saying get stuck in your sound that you've developed in 1983. No, we need to evolve and sort of evolve with the times, right, and update our sounds. But not to the point where you're completely abandoning your own tastes and interests and what you love to do and what you're really good at, what your core strengths are, okay? Big problem in the music business and in LA where I used to live in general. People talk before they got anything to really talk about. So bragging about what you're doing, what you got going on, who you're working with, what kind of projects you got going on. This is what chasing is, right? This is basically putting the cart before the horse, and you're talking about all these huge things you're about to do, but you know what? You don't even have a contract for that opportunity. You don't have a check for it. You don't even have a direct relationship with that company. So try not to do this, okay? What it does is it makes you seem less serious in other people's eyes, and especially other professionals in the industry. So if you're talking to other people who work in the business and you're always with these stories of, yeah, I'm about to get this placement, I'm about to do that, and then they ask you a month later, hey, what happened to that opportunity? Oh, well, I don't know. It just kind of fell through, something, whatever, right? Well, they know you're a flake, okay? And they know that you're just talking and you shouldn't be talking. So usually successful people who do really well, especially in this industry that I found, keep it shut. They don't really talk, right? There's not a lot of bragging and spilling the beans on everything that's going on, okay? I'm not saying you shouldn't celebrate your wins. You absolutely should when you have something substantial to celebrate. But that should be selective. That you shouldn't be blabbering it out to the entire world. Maybe with your core friends and family, your group of producers that you really connect with, whatever it is, right? But being very mindful about this, to not becoming a bragger. It's just not a good look, and it's really going to start to negatively affect your reputation in the business. And generally, as we talked about before, treating your music career like it's the Lotto, right? You don't have a serious business plan in place. You're not thinking about this in the long term. You're just trying to get rich quick. You're just trying to get famous real quick, right? You want to climb those social media numbers super fast. So we this might be also an American phenomenon too, but I think this might work around the world, is that we just want the quick fix. We just want the thing that's going to get us those results immediately. And I'm sorry, guys, especially in the music licensing business, there is no such thing. There's no such thing as you click on a button and you immediately get full-time income and you immediately get accepted and you immediately have a great reputation. It's like in any business and anything in life, you're just going to have to work for it, all right? You're going to have to put in your time, put in your dues, prove yourself, right? You have to prove yourself worthy of people's trust and constant giving out of gigs, basically, right? You have to prove to your libraries and supervisors and partners that you are working with that you're the hungriest one on their roster. You're the one ready to go. You're the one that can deliver every single time, on time, ahead of schedule. There's no quick fix for that. There's really no. You have to consistently show up to provide and build that strength for yourself with the libraries, okay? So let's talk about the flip side. Let's talk about the positive of what you can do for your career rather than just all that stuff. What can you do to build a career, and what is building a career? Let's get into it. Number one, rather than focusing in on what the world owes us, we go outwards and we think about what we can do to serve the marketplace, or a niche part of the marketplace, or our fans, or whatever it is you're trying to do. Start with a service mindset. Get empathetic to your customer and to your clients. what do they want? What are they really interested in? What is the thing that they probably could use in their life that would make their lives better, easier, more enjoyable? Whatever that is, right? In a licensing business, a lot of it has to do with making our clients' lives easier, right? If we can make licensable music that immediately serves their needs and their clients' needs, they look like a rock star to their clients. Their clients re-up with them and keep signing with them. They get music directly placed, so they're making their money on the publishing side, and then you're making money on the writer side. So it's a win-win for everybody involved. And that came from you because you started with this mindset of, I want to make your lives easier. How can I create music that's useful and licensable for you, specifically you. I'm not spamming a bunch of companies, right? For you and your clients. So that's how you're going to win in this business. Admitting weaknesses and improving them. I'll tell you guys a quick story about my situation with that. I had terrible mixes when I first started in this business. My mixes were quiet, they were small, timid. I mean, I had a lot of problems with my music, but that was certainly the bigger issue that I had a hard time admitting in the beginning because I would always make excuses for myself just internally. I'd have this dialogue going on where I would hear somebody else's tracks and theirs were 60 be louder, even 90 be louder sometimes. Mine were really quiet. And I would just always make up some excuse as to why theirs was better. And I wouldn't admit that, like, it's okay. I'm not going to be perfect at everything, but I got to admit when I have a weakness and when I see it. That's step one. A lot of producers and musicians don't even know they have weaknesses. They think their music is God's gift to man, and they think there's nothing they can do to improve it. Okay, that's even below and before all of this. But once you see that weakness, admit it and accept it. It's okay. You don't have to be a pro at everything about music. There can be some things that you're not great at. But you know what you got to do, right? You have to work to improve them. Take the steps to learn about how to improve them. Get into your studio, A/B test, use reference tracks, whatever it is you need to do to basically focus, right? Sync 60 could have been one of your goals for this challenge. Is this, if your mixes were just not as loud and not as interesting as a lot of other people's tracks, that could have been your goal for this entire challenge. So that's what I want to recommend for you guys. And I strongly encourage you to try to get over that ego, because that's that ego thing that says, oh, no, I don't have any weaknesses. Come on. Like, no, I'm great, right? Your ego wants to protect you, but it's okay. You don't have to let it protect you for this. In fact, it's actually getting in the way of your success if you don't allow yourself to admit what you need to work at and get better at it. Develop a habit of constant music creation. A lot of producers and musicians get excited about music every week, and then by Wednesday, they're done with it. And they're not interested in making music anymore because the ideas kind of ran out and they're just not, interested in making music. So they go watch TV, play video games until maybe a month later or something. And then it's like, all right, now I want to make some music. Can't do that if you want to build a career, right? You got to develop a habit of consistent music creation. So with the tutorials in Sync Academy, you guys, the Sync Academy members, you guys have access to that, okay? So I talk about setting up templates, setting up pre-selecting your music. My producing, mixing, and mastering series walks you through my entire creation process. So if you haven't gone through that, make sure you go through that, because I share throughout all of those videos, and I think there's like 20 hours plus of video content there, about how I'm stacking my tracks, how I'm selecting my instruments, how I pre-select them, how I make sure that I don't run into sort of writer's block and issues along that way, and how I sort of structure the entire track really from the beginning to know where am I going to go by the end of it. So it's kind of like setting up your own blueprint, your own map essentially of how you're going to complete the track before you even start, before you hit that first note. This is what you got to learn how to do, okay? You cannot just show up. Sorry, I know I got sunlight in my face, so I'll try to maybe get out of the way. I don't know if I can. There's really no way out of this thing. It's just got me. So anyways, guys, if you could forgive me on that. But if you can learn how to do that, where you don't have to worry about, well, where do I go with this track? And what do I do? I don't know. Because you guys have probably been in that situation where you get halfway into a track and you lose direction, motivation, you don't know what to do with it. That will be solved by making sure that you have planned out your production. And what happens is the more you get into that habit of always planning your tracks out and making sure you have a plan of action before you start them, that just becomes your second nature. It's like breathing air. You don't even think about it. It's just now what you do. So that every single day, if you get to do this full time, you'll be able to create new music on a consistent basis and not worry about hitting writer's block, running out of creative ideas, all that kind of stuff, right? It's a really important thing. You're going to have to make direct pitches to libraries and clients, okay? Submitting your tracks to these kind of cattle call opportunities where, they send it out to 10,000 other producers and you just are one of thousands of people that are, oh, I hope I get this opportunity. It's not a path to full-time income. It's a path to maybe, if you're super lucky, it's like the Lotto, you're one out of 10,000 that win it. And then that's pretty much all it's going to be for you. You're going to get a one-time check, or maybe you get some royalties, and then that's it, right? There's no direct relationship that was developed, and there's probably not going to be ongoing work with that client. So you got to go directly to libraries. You got to go directly to these companies that want to partner with you. And these libraries don't think that they're being bothered by you when you approach them. They are looking for new music. Many of their websites actually tell that, and they say that directly on their Q&A. We want new music. Please submit it to us. Okay. So this niche of the industry is different from record labels. Record labels don't want unsolicited for the most part. Most music libraries do, and they are in the business of taking new music from people just like you. Making promises and delivering them, super important. If you say you're going to get 3 tracks done by Friday at 5, you better have those tracks done by 4 at the latest, just in case, right? What if you have some technical issues uploading the tracks, getting them sent through Dropbox? Or if you say you're going to get 3 tracks done by Friday, you should maybe get 4 tracks done by Friday. Over deliver them. At least deliver what you say you do, but also if you can, over deliver. Blow people away with what they're actually going to get from you. This is what most people don't do. And your brand, your reputation is created by this. So when you get accepted by a library and they're saying, go ahead and get us, the rest of these tracks by the end of the week, or give us 1 track per week, or whatever you guys decide on, you better not be flaking out on them. You better not be like, oh, well, I got busy. It's okay. They have other writers, so they're probably not going to notice. Oh, they will notice. They definitely notice when people say they're going to do something and they don't. Protect your reputation and your brand like it is your gold in your bank account, because it is your best asset in this business, your reputation, for how people see you. And this is how your brand gets built. This is how your reputation gets developed over the years. That if you get strong in the eyes of one of your libraries, they talk to other people. And if other people are looking for music and you have the strongest brand in their eyes of their roster of writers that they have, guess who's going to get those opportunities and those direct relationships and those link ups and those phone calls and emails? You, because you protected yourself. You did absolutely do what you said you were going to do. It's a really rare thing these days. You wouldn't believe it, but most people don't even do this very simple thing. When you say you're going to do something, just do the thing. Considering the needs of clients first. Okay, this kind of goes with the first point, though, that rather than always worrying about, well, what about it for me? What's in it for me? I'm not saying you should just be a self-sacrificing kind of idiot and just basically sign terrible deals and just always do what's right for your clients and never what's right for you. You should always be looking out for yourself. But think about what's in it for your clients first, especially in the beginning of this industry, okay? Because you have to pay your dues. You're going to have to sort of prove to people that you're here and you're willing to work and you're hungry. So if you can always think before you send that email, before you approach them, before you even submit your first track, what is it that they really want? How would they perceive this email or this pitch or this approach that I'm giving them? Would this be a strong way for them to go, yeah, I want to work with this person? Would this make their lives easier? So try to really be empathetic and think about what's in it for them. That's how you're going to be building a career. Again, instead of bragging about stuff before you have anything to talk about, don't talk about anything until you have something to talk about, of course, all right? And even if you do have something great to talk about, be selective with who you talk about that with, okay? Nobody likes somebody who's just constantly bragging about everything. But I'm not saying be quiet about your accomplishments. Absolutely. Blow your own horn, toot your own horn when you need to. And also even for yourself, celebrate your own wins and tell your friends and family about it and tell them you got this placement or tell them you got accepted. Absolutely. I'm not saying don't do that. But, obviously within reason, okay? It doesn't need to be the thing you post on your social media every single day about how awesome you are and how great you are, okay? Eventually people get tired of that. Not really that interesting to listen to over and over again. But obviously just keep your mouth shut unless you got really something you can actually say, okay? Basically, rather than going and treating your music career like it's a lotto ticket, you're going to be treating it like it's a business, like you're actually an entrepreneur starting a small business. And guess what? Spoiler alert, that's what you're doing here. You're creating a business that can manufacture music, which is your product, and now you need to go out and get those clients, which is your music library, supervisors, all those people that can help you get those TV film placements, right? And that's your product, is you get those royalties, or that's your return essentially on investment, is your upfront consideration fees and sync fees, and then your royalties in the back end. This is a business. You got to be serious about this. Serious as a heart attack if this is going to be full-time income. Most producers are not willing to treat this that seriously, okay? So how are you going to build your career? Let's finish up on this really strong note here, okay? Obviously, as you guys know, you got to start creating licensable tracks. That's bottom line. If you're not creating tracks that are useful for this industry, you are wasting your time completely. And you already have very limited time because most of you have day jobs. You have other gigs, other obligations. You don't have the luxury of spending 40, 50 hours a week just making music. So for the few hours that you do have in your studio, you better be making stuff that's useful and licensable, okay? That's especially for this industry. I don't like seeing when people have created an entire album of music, submit it to all these libraries, and everybody says no because they just weren't thinking about, well, is this actually, again, starting with what their clients want first, having a service mindset first. You have to think about, what does this music library, this specific music library want, a specific one, not 10 different ones, but what does this one want, and can I actually serve their needs with my music? And then creating your album with that in mind from day one. That's how you're going to get the acceptance letters. Directly partnering with library supervisors. Okay, we talked about that again. Not going to these, I'll send my track to this kind of opportunity that other, thousands of other people are going for as well. You need to get the CEO of these companies in your phone. You have to have their phone number. You have to have their emails in your inbox. You need to have a direct relationship with these people and talk to them consistently. There's no other way to do this full time, guys. I've never seen anybody make full-time income going with these cattle call opportunities. You have to go directly to companies and you have to develop personal relationships. So you're gonna have to break out of your shell a little bit, take some risks. That's the only way this will be full-time income for you. If you don't want to be serious about this and just want to I just want to make some music once in a while and throw it out, that's what that kind of side of the industry is for. It's like, you don't want to invest too much time into it. You don't want to develop those personal relationships. You just want to send it out and have somebody else do the shopping for you. You're stacking the odds incredibly high against yourself. But if you don't want to take it that seriously, go for that. But I think you guys watching this do want to take it seriously. And that's why I'm telling you, the only path to do this full time, even part time, is you got to get directly involved with these companies and these people. Live to serve, all right? Don't live to be a victim. Don't live to look out for how everybody's screwing you over and what they all owe you. If you start with this mindset of, how can I make other people's lives better? How can I make some sort of a service for them, or a music product for them that'll actually help them in their business, you will be rewarded with money. That's just how life works. He who can serve the best will be the richest. That's literally how entrepreneurship and business works. The more that you can find a place to serve a marketplace with your music, and you do it better than everybody else, who's going to get all the business? Who's going to get all the opportunities and placements? You are, okay? It's not rocket science. It doesn't require a 4-year business degree from a college to learn this kind of stuff. That is the basics of business. Find a marketplace, find what they want, and serve it. And the better you can serve it, the better you can do with your product, which is music, the more you're going to get those clients and get that money. That's how it works. So constantly you got to build a catalog, okay? You can't do one album and then walk away and think that one album that you got in one library is now going to take care of your full-time income. It is like a 401k plan. If you just contribute to it once, it's not going to grow as rapidly as if you have a consistent habit of every month you add to it. Same thing in this industry, right? Think about your catalog, which is basically all of the tracks you have circulating in the industry, as your personal catalog. You need to be feeding it every month, right? It needs to be more tracks, more music coming out there. There's just no shortcut around that. And even though there is a lot of passive income in this industry, it's still very active, because you can't just go to sleep and think that the money's just going to always be rolling in. So there's always a need and a niche for you to always, just a need to build that catalog up, so you don't get, you don't see those royalties starting to dwindle a little bit. Don't get me wrong. Some of them can last for years, and I've had many that have lasted for years and years and years, and they haven't gone down. But you guys get what I'm saying here. The more you throw into it, the higher those royalties keep growing, okay? Stay hungry, guys. Don't think that, well, I have 2 libraries and somebody's offering me a gig for $50. I'm not going to take them up on it. You should be taking almost every gig you can get your hands on, especially in the first couple of years of this industry, because it's not necessarily always about that gig. $50 for a track, that's really not that much. I don't even want to do it. But you got to realize that doing a great job, even if it's not a lot of money, usually opens the door for more work, okay? Now you have a greater reputation with a company, with a contact, with a client. They have friends, they have contacts, they have other people in the industry. And guess what? If you did an amazing job for that one client, they're going to tell their clients and their friends and their other people. And so your name and your reputation will grow. So stay hungry. People like being around hungry people, okay? I love being around producers who are ready to work, want to work. I don't like being around producers that, I'm just not interested in doing that opportunity. I just don't think so. I don't think so. Not enough money for me. Okay, well, guess what? When I get a $10,000 opportunity, I need somebody to help me out with it. You're not getting it. I'm not going to send it to you because you're not hungry enough for these smaller ones. Why would I want to give you the bigger ones, okay? The attitude is kind of off with that, right? It's just not a fun attitude to be around. So just stay hungry and you're going to get more work. Protect your reputation with hard work, delivering when you say you're going to. Your reputation is your brand in this business. So protect it like it's your most valuable asset, because it is. Collaborate with other producers, okay? You guys that are in Sync Academy, I hope you guys have joined the collaborations group and you're reaching out and you're working with other producers. This is also how you build up your contacts in the industry, and you start learning more and you start creating interesting music. And somebody might be involved with a library and they want to do some 50-50 co-writes with you, everybody equally contributing, right? And that could be a way for you to actually get your music into new catalogs and new places into this business. So being open to collaborate is a really strong way to build your career as well. And most importantly, guys, just stay the course. So many producers burn out in this business, and I've already seen it so many times with my students where they go off like a rocket ship. They get so excited in the first couple of months, and then 3 months in, 6 months in, they just go dead. They go quiet. There's just not really much happening with them anymore. And that's because they did not stay the course. Now, what's going to happen for a lot of these guys is, fast forward 1.5 to 2 years, they're going to start getting some royalties from the music that they got accepted into libraries, because it takes a while to get some of those royalties to come in. And they're probably going to see these $1,000, $2,000, maybe even $3,000 royalty checks and go, oh my gosh, I made a mistake. I totally ran out of this industry way too quickly. I didn't know that this was waiting for me a couple years down the road. And then they scramble to get back into the business. And so it's a complete waste of time. I mean, you wasted basically 2 years of your life where you could have been that entire time building your catalog, building your royalties. And so that $3,000 that you were getting now can grow into 4, 5, 6, 7, right? But now you got to go start from scratch again. You got to go right back to the basics and maybe get back into the libraries you worked with before. They might not even be in business anymore. So who knows? You know, you might have to go now through the whole submission process again. So just have that faith. If you see what this business can offer you, if you believe that it actually could fit and work well for you, just have that faith to stay the course and keep going and stay motivated, stay positive, stay productive. You got to have faith in yourself, really. I mean, I can try to help encourage you guys, and there's other members obviously here that we all try to encourage each other. At the end of the day, though, this is an internal sort of issue that you're going to have to deal with, because you will internally have these doubts of like, I don't know, I'm not seeing any money yet. Should I keep going? You know, and nobody can tell you what to do. You have to make that choice for yourself. But if you believe in this and you believe in yourself, it's like Nike, just do it. Stay the course. That's just what you got to do, okay? Next week, this is a really important topic, and I've kind of talked a little bit about it actually in this video. And I got to spend some time on it because it's just the norm. Most producers do, unfortunately, give up before they see the results that they want in this business, because most people don't have the persistence and the consistency to stay the course for as long as it will actually take. So I want to actually, it's going to be, you know, kind of a bummer video in a way, but it's important. I have to talk about this stuff because you guys need to know the pitfalls that are in front of you, the doubts that you're going to face, and you're going to face these things, okay? So I'm going to be sort of a party killer here, a buzz kill, but we're not going to end Sync 60 with this video. We have one more after that, and that will be much more positive and productive and more encouraging. But we got to be honest and real about what it really is like to be in this business and to face that kind of feeling of I might want to give up on it, okay? And I want to talk about some of those real stories and real issues that I've talked to other producers about. So you guys will get a whole dose of red pills. I mean, it's going to be very real. We're just going to have some real conversations in next week's video. So please don't miss it. Please make sure you stay tuned and get back to work. We're starting our next week now. So I hope you are able to get back on track if you fell off. And if not, just keep going with it, guys. I think some incredible things are coming all of your guys' way, as long as you are able to meet the challenge that you set for yourself. And we're almost there, guys. We are basically 80% of the way there. So don't give up now that we're this close to the finish line. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.